I don't know why he's back. Actually, I guess they're everyone's trying to do their thing. He's maybe his people. In the cycle of things, it's when his people are reaching out to their people. They're going down the list and making the phone calls and leaving the messages and etc. And eventually, for some reason, everyone's doing Chris Bledsoe this season. He's looking good. He's sounding good. He doesn't have Crohn's disease anymore. He's not doing rheumatoids anymore. Uh, Still seems to be full of shit, but if you're a UFO vet, if you're not new to ufology, then you probably all know all about Chris Bledsoe. He's got his own everything. He's on everyone's everything every now and then. I'm not sure that anything on the Shawn Ryan show was new. I think I saw a few things on Twitter saying that they were like new, but I mean, most of the show is. Oh, I can't see. Oh yeah, most of the show is talking about fairly old stuff that he's talked about on other shows multiple times, a bunch of times. Towards the end, there's kind of what I guess is newer stuff, sorta prophecies, future events, and so I probably wouldn't even have talked about him even in current events. Uh, even though it seems like he's showing up in all the, in the circuit and all the podcasts on all the shows. I probably wouldn't normally cover Bledsoe, but if you're on UFO Twitter and if you're a noob, you probably see it everywhere. Like you can see stuff on YouTube as soon as you start watching UFO videos, uh, from witnesses. I guess probably even, you know, specifically witnesses and those category people. Then you'll hear his stories, and there's a bunch of them. I think they kind of go through all of them in here. You know, uh, his wife dying, orbs, little little green men. I'm not sure if it says they're green or if they're just like if they're like glowing. They're like glowing and they had red eyes. They're like little green men with red eyes in the forest, and everything they ever talked about. Disappearing in the forest and his son disappearing in the forest. People being mad at him and not believing him. Praying for these things, angels, to show themselves to his family, convince his family by especially showing themselves to his family of all people. And then even when that happened, you know, uh, he'd seen the stuff a bunch. He got them to show themselves to his family a bunch. Then his family was facing a lot of backlash, and then he, at one point had like a Home Alone kind of moment where he went outside and screamed that he's really mad, not gonna do it anymore or whatever. And then that night or the next day, the aliens came and got him again and told him to knock it off. This is his burden. And so I don't think any of that in this Shawn Ryan show is new, even for Bledsoe. And then I'm not sure even what the future prophecies are. He's saying that like uh the new coming of Jesus is going to happen in 2026, Easter 2026, and that's when like the star of Regulus is going to be lined up with the Sphinx perfectly, and so that is when Jesus is supposed to, you know, show back up, I guess. So I guess that's the future prophecy and event that was really being talked about in this episode and on Twitter. But then I think one of the main things here, as far as like why I was covering it, is because it's we're a few weeks into 2025, and the Bledsoe people started throwing a fit on Twitter and everywhere else. All the podcasts and things that they were doing, and when people were asking questions, everything they were chiming in on. And I don't know why. Like, I guess maybe it was part of the marketing, the sensational, marketing blitz that they did before the episode. I guess is the only thing I could really figure out, because I watched it 3 times. Like, I fell asleep during it twice, but I watched it in whole and a bunch of, the ending a bunch of times. So I'm not really sure why there was this like campaign that went on for weeks. It seemed like there was this weird, UFO Twitter drama happening about Chris Bledsoe on the Shawn Ryan show, and that Shawn Ryan wasn't going to release it. I think there was even like a tweet out there at some point from Shawn Ryan or the Shawn Ryan show, the producer or whatever, saying that they didn't want to be connected to the content or to the Chris Bledsoe stuff. And then, then it was out. So there was it really was like a lot of like UFO Twitter drama for what seemed like nothing, especially after I watched the show. Like, it seemed like, I don't know what Bledsoe was going to say that was going to be, could be even considered controversial for Chris Bledsoe. So, if you're not a UFO vet, if you're a ufology noob, then you should definitely do some Chris Bledsoe at some point. Do a few hours. It wouldn't be hard to do. Shawn Ryan show here, I mean, it's a couple hours, and it covers almost everything. Like, you're not going to see him talk about much else on anything else that you watch, but you'll see him talk about the same things a lot and in a lot of detail. And then on his Twitter, you get a lot of this. I mean, this is daily. Really, maybe it's not every day, but it's almost every day. We're getting a lot of orb videos from Chris Bledsoe, and they're all, just as amazing as that one. There's a lot of politics on this guy's Twitter too that we'll try and scroll by. This one's famous, probably. So I'm not even sure. I don't know why there was the basically drama going on for the Chris Ryan show and the Bledsoe camp with his, kids and him there saying that he was being censored. Because here he is. I watched the whole thing. It was kind of like a normal Shawn Ryan show episode. I don't think Bledsoe's a veteran at all, but he has been doing ufology. He's been a witness forever, talking about his various stories and his kids' various stories forever. You can find him everywhere. So as far as the episode goes, there's nothing really groundbreaking there. What's new about it is that there was all this drama, which was probably, I guess, the point was so we would watch it. Bledsoe you can find everywhere. So on YouTube, I think there's a lot of channels that have to do with Chris Bledsoe and the Bledsoe family, but I think the most direct YouTube channel is Bledsoe Said So. Tons of videos, super active, mostly UFO, I guess, UFO related, even though it's there's a lot of new age religion in there. His Twitter's mostly, I think, politics or videos. And I think when I was scrolling through, I mean, he says this is a picture somewhere in the Venetian secret archives that a friend of his sent to him, and the comments are just people going to town saying, well, this is shit's on Google, bro, and etc. But there's a lot of that. Some much older videos being reposted that were them, the Bledsoe fellers, posting like videos of what kind of looks the same thing, like lights in the distance, orbs being poorly photographed on purpose, probably, but in the forest, through the trees, and they were saying they were fairies or goblins or something. Little green men. I don't know how far I looked before I found that. I'm pretty sure it was on Chris's X here. But there's Ryan, and Ryan, I don't think it's like a parody or anything. I think Ryan Bledsoe is one of Chris Bledsoe's kids who are involved in ufology. But maybe it is like fake and I fell for it. But sometimes, like in here, it says, "Oh, I'm proud of you, Dad," and you repost stuff, from Chris Bledsoe. So his ex, and I mean, it was weeks of this censored on Shawn Ryan stuff, and like I thought it was gonna mean something on the episode.